Guys, hello. This week during science class, we are going to learn about the solar system. Our objectives are to describe the inner and outer planets, to identify common characteristics of the inner and outer planets, to recognize the position of Earth within the solar system, and to recognize that there are moons, asteroids, and comets in our solar system. What is the solar system? Our solar system is a system of 8 planets and the sun, along with moons, asteroids, and comets. 4 of these 8 planets are the inner planets, which are closest to the sun. These are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. And then there are the outer planets, which are farther away from the sun: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And these are separated by an asteroid belt. Let's talk a little bit more about the inner planets. The first inner planet is Mercury. This is the first planet um, and the closest to the sun. Mercury is the smallest of the inner planets. It has the tiniest atmosphere of the 4 inner planets. Its surface is made up of iron and nickel, and it has no moon. The second planet in position from the sun is Venus. Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. Even though Mercury is closest to the sun, Venus's temperature is higher because its thick toxic atmosphere traps the heat. The surface of Venus is covered with volcanoes and canyons, and it has no moon. Next, we have our home planet, Earth. It is the largest of the inner planets. Its atmosphere allows for existence of living things. Its surface is covered in land masses such as mountains, canyons, hills, and valleys. And Earth has one moon. It's also, as you know, the only planet that has been confirmed to host life. Mars is the last of the inner planets. It's known as the red planet because its iron-rich dust gives its landscape a rusty red color, as you can see here on the slide. Mars has a thin atmosphere and it has 2 moons. And while we are talking about moons, let me tell you that the moon is a satellite that is made of rock and ice that orbits a planet. The moon is the only natural satellite that the Earth has. Only 2 of the inner planets, Mars and Earth, have moons. And Earth's moon is very important, and it has an important impact on Earth because the moon's gravitational pull helps to stabilize Earth's wobbling motion as it rotates around its axis. So the entire solar system relies on gravity. And this is what keeps the planets from, not only planets, asteroids, and comets, it keeps them from crashing against each other. Next, we'll talk about the outer planets. These are the ones that are after the asteroid belt. They are farther from the sun, and one fun fact about the outer planets is that they're also known as gas giants because their atmospheres are mainly composed of gases. First off, we have Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. Its atmosphere is made up of hydrogen and helium. Jupiter is a very large planet with a low density. The planet rotates faster than Earth. In the time that Earth takes one complete rotation, Jupiter completes more than two rotations. Jupiter also has two moons, and I want you to notice that red spot that's visible here on the slide. That's called the red spot, and it is a storm in Jupiter's southern hemisphere. Let's continue with Saturn. This is another gas giant. Saturn has an atmosphere that contains mostly hydrogen and helium. Um, Jupiter and Saturn are similar. It's also a very large planet with a low density, just like Jupiter. Saturn has 62 moons, and it was the first planet, or it is the planet that's the farthest away from Earth that can still be seen without the use of a telescope. Next up, we have Uranus. Uranus is the seventh planet from the Sun and the most distant planet visible without a telescope. Its atmosphere contains hydrogen, helium, and methane. This planet is so cold that methane in the atmosphere can freeze. So imagine those temperatures. No life is able to exist in such temperatures. So Uranus was the first one actually to be discovered with the use of a telescope, and it has 27 moons. And finally, we have Neptune. Neptune is the planet that's the farthest away from the sun. Therefore, it is the coldest planet in the solar system, and it has 14 moons. Also, it takes more than 100 Earth years for Neptune to orbit the Sun, and it is the smallest of the outer planets. I mentioned the asteroid belt before, and I told you that it separates the inner and the outer planets. The asteroid belt is located between the orbits of Jupiter and Mars. And it's occupied by, or it is actually a great, it's composed by great many solid irregular shaped bodies of many sizes but smaller than planets, and they are called asteroids. So that's where it gets its name, right? All the asteroids forming a belt somehow. Scientists have found that there are more than 1 million asteroids that form the asteroid belt that separates the outer and the inner planets. Asteroids and comets are fragments left over from the giant cloud of gas and dust that formed the solar system more than 4.5 billion years ago. Asteroids are chunks of rock that measure in size from a meter to several kilometers in diameter. They orbit the sun. Objects smaller than asteroids are called meteoroids. Comets are chunks of ice and dust or rock that have stretched out orbits around the sun. As comets heat up, gas and dust are released and trail behind them. The sun illuminates the trail of gas and dust, which is why some comets are visible in the night sky. And close with this, not before letting you know that during the week we will be working on a foldable that's going to help us keep our facts straight related to the planet and the solar system. So this is it for this video, guys, and I'll see you in class so that we can work on that foldable. Bye bye.